The Joplin School's Garden Cooperative starts a new garden. A new exhibit is opening at the Spiva Art Gallery. Some are taking the madness of March basketball underwater. Concerns are raised as COVID variants continue to spread in the U.S.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Well, today was a big day for the students and staff at Soaring Heights Elementary School. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Chris Warner. A new school garden was installed through the help of volunteers. KOAM's Bronte Saratsky spoke with volunteers and school staff to see how the garden will benefit students.
Students at Soaring Heights Elementary are about to get a more hands-on education experience. The school is welcoming a new addition to their campus and just installed a new garden.
This is an opportunity for kids to have some hands-on learning with the sciences.
The newly installed garden will teach students at the school where their food comes from, while also getting them interested in healthy eating.
We wanted to bring healthy food opportunities to elementary school kids in Joplin.
At today's event, the Joplin School Garden Cooperative, along with volunteers, built the raised beds that will eventually be filled with seeds and plants.
The principal at Soaring Heights has a tray of heirloom cherry tomatoes in her office right now. I brought seeds. The kids planted the seeds, and I grow them in my greenhouse and bring them back when they're ready to plant.
Those tomatoes will then be planted in the beds, teaching the students where produce comes from.
They can see that this tomato that they eat came from a seed.
For teachers at the school, it gives an opportunity to not only teach their students about healthy living, but also about new life skills.
We teach a lot throughout the day, like I said, taking turns, being able to use kind words and actions to ask for something. So, will you please pass the shovel?
This project could not have been done without the community's help.
We have a team of Youth Volunteer Corps Joplin that came to volunteer to help build these beds. So it's really a community effort.
For Teresa Adams, the best part about the garden is that having an opportunity for students to learn hands-on will help them really retain this information.
What we know in education is that if you can get kids hands-on and digging into something, they're more likely to retain that information.
Although it will take a while for the plants to grow, the opportunity for increased learning is worth it. In Joplin, Bronte Saratsky, KOAM News.
Now, although there will be fewer students in the summer, volunteers will still be needed to help keep the garden alive. The Spiva Center for the Arts is hosting its 45th annual Photo Spiva photography competition. It is the longest running competition of its kind in the country. They had over 1,100 entries this year from over 20 different states. Later tonight, they'll be announcing the competition's winners.
So we were delighted this year to have several people from Joplin be accepted into the exhibit, and actually quite a few from the region, even though we had submissions from Washington State, Chicago, all over the country.
The exhibit is running from now through May 15th. Well, earlier today, Calypso Scuba hosted a March into Madness underwater basketball event. The center wanted to take advantage of the recent basketball tournament and came up with this event. Now, participants took the sport underwater. Now, all participants had to be scuba certified, and the event included 12 players, some recently certified and some with more experience.
Which essentially you take everything you know about basketball and just flip it upside down, because instead of throwing the ball and having it drop through the net, when you're underwater, you're going to release the ball and it's going to rise, and hopefully you'll get a basket.
She says holding the underwater basketball event acts as Calypso Scuba's own way of honoring sport lovers. We had an angelic day across the four states. Is it going to last? Here's meteorologist Nick Kelly to tell us if it's going to stay this way.
Yeah, the short answer is yes. I can give you one more nice day before things get a bit active, Chris. But hey, it'll be a great way to wrap up the weekend. It felt like winter this morning, though, with lows around 30, but a high of 62. A nice first spring afternoon with temperatures like that popping up in Joplin Regional. We had clear skies all day long, but now we're starting to see cloud cover roll in from the west. That's ahead of our next storm system. Nothing underneath our clouds that will roll in tonight and continue throughout the day tomorrow. And with the south breeze in place, We're not going to see temperatures turn so cold this time around. We'll drop back into the lower 40s, 52 by 10, quickly pushing to 60 by noon and into the mid 60s for another nice and mild and kind of breezy Sunday afternoon. We'll break down the changes on the way, including rain chances, Chris, coming up in the full forecast here in a bit.
All right, Nick, thank you so much. Well, the Greene County Sheriff's Office is investigating a triple homicide. Now, the incident happened at 4486 North Farm Road 249, just outside of Stratford, Missouri. Authorities say a man called 911 just after 6:30 this evening, saying he had just murdered 3 family members inside his home. Deputies arrived and found 3 dead adults inside the home. Now, the man was taken into custody without incident. The investigation is still ongoing. The number of new COVID-19 cases continues to trend lower in Oklahoma. Data from Johns Hopkins University shows the rolling average number of new daily COVID-19 cases Saturday in Oklahoma had fallen by 31%. The Oklahoma State Department of Health reported no new cases today. More than 1 million people in Oklahoma have received at least one vaccine dose, almost 27% of the population, according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. As more contagious COVID-19 variants spread throughout the U.S., Dr. Anthony Fauci says there are 3 key ways to keep new infections from surging once again. But as CBS News correspondent Michael George reports from New York, there are pockets of resistance across the nation.
Dr. Anthony Fauci says more contagious COVID variants spreading around the U.S. can be fought with vaccines, social distancing, and masks.
If we don't do those things, there is a threat that we will see a surge coming up.
You've been vaccinated and you parade around in 2 masks for show.
Masks are not theater. Masks are protective.
Fauci addressed his exchange on Capitol Hill this week with Republican Senator Rand Paul, who's also a medical doctor.
His point was if you're vaccinated, you shouldn't be wearing a mask. In fact, as the more people get vaccinated, just put masks away. It's theater. That's ridiculous.
Dr. Fauci cited a new study that finds people aged 65 and older are more prone to being reinfected by the coronavirus. But as the pandemic begins its 2nd year, mask wearing continues to be a source of division.
Join us in the fight to regain our constitutional freedoms.
In Phoenix, a group burned masks and held up signs against vaccines. In Texas City, Texas,
I'm trying to school you people, am I right?
This woman was arrested for a 2nd time after refusing to wear a mask in a store. But amid the strife, signs of life the way Americans knew it. In Oakland, California, kids relished the reopening of an amusement park, while kids of all ages celebrated as the curtain rose at the El Capitan Theater in Los Angeles for the first time in more than a year. Michael George, CBS News.
Now, the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Organizing Committee said today that international spectators will not be allowed to enter Japan during the Olympic Games scheduled for this summer. And we take this time now to honor one of our many 4-state heroes. Boatsman 2nd Class Ira Wilson served in the Navy during the Korean War from 1950 to 1953. His hometown, Hepler, Kansas. We are proud to recognize Boatsman 2nd Class Ira Wilson, tonight's 4-state hero. Of course, remember to view other heroes or to nominate one of your own. All you have to do is head over to our website at KOAMNewsNow.com. And that is a look at our top stories and a check of the forecast on the late edition of the KOAM News at 10. Still ahead, a look at the week's top medical stories, including a vaccination milestone and the latest on the 2nd week of the Derek Chauvin trial. The COVID risks for slow walkers, and President Biden makes good on a promise. Michael George takes a look at some of the week's top health stories.
The Biden administration says it's reached its goal of vaccinating 100 million Americans in the president's first 100 days in office. That's weeks ahead of schedule. And the CDC revised its 6 feet apart guidance for schools down to 3 feet. New research finds middle-aged people who walk slowly are nearly 4 times more likely to die from COVID-19 and twice as likely to contract a severe case of the virus. UK researchers say the slow walkers in the study were not overweight and that their coronavirus risk was higher than obese people who walk briskly. And a study from Massachusetts General Hospital finds people who maintain a heart-healthy lifestyle are less likely to develop cancer. Researchers evaluated data from over 20,000 study participants and found those who exercised, had a healthy diet, didn't smoke, and managed their blood pressure and cholesterol had a low cancer risk. That's a look at some of the week's top health stories. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
The second week of the Derek Chauvin trial comes to an end with key decisions and unfinished business. The judge ruled to keep the trial in Minneapolis and not to delay it. 13 jurors have now been seated, which means jury selection will continue next week. Jennifer Merrily reports.
Friday started with 12 jurors seated and one more was added. Number 13 is a woman in her 50s who likes animals. She worked in customer service and is in between jobs. She said she's seen some of the fatal encounter between George Floyd and Minneapolis police and said she can put aside any opinions about it. When asked about Derek Chauvin accused in Floyd's death, she said she felt he took on a different role than the other officers on scene.
How do you mean? More like the leader.
Okay. And do you assign him more blame as a result of that role?
I do not.
Here's a look at the overall jury. There are 5 men, 8 women. 6 of the 13 are people of color. Ages range from 20s to 60s. And the judge ruled on 3 main motions Friday. He denied a change of venue and a continuance. Judge Peter Cahill is allowing a limited amount of a 2019 encounter between Floyd and police.
The May 6, 2019 evidence is only admissible for the limited purpose of showing what Mr. Floyd's is an example of Mr. Floyd's bodily reaction, his physical symptoms upon being confronted in almost the exact same situation.
The emotional behavior part is out. So is an expert the state wanted to testify. In Minneapolis, Jennifer Merrily, CBS News.
There are 5 men and 8 women on the jury. 6 of the 13 are persons of color. Their ages range from 20s to 60s. Jury selection resumes Monday at 9 a.m. The temperatures raising the roof, but are they going to stay that way? Well, Nick Kelly's up next with that forecast. And a little later, lava, not in our area, but it's flowing in Iceland after a full day after an eruption, a rare eruption at that.
Before we hit the 5 o'clock hour this morning, we bid farewell to the previous winter season and kicked off spring today. And we definitely took advantage of the sunshine to make it feel like early spring today. All the plentiful sunshine over indigo sky outside of Seneca, Missouri, and all across the area really helped us out with temperatures for today, because we took that sunshine with a good breeze at about 5 to 15 miles per hour throughout the day. We went from the mid-50s yesterday to lower 30s this morning, and a good jump back into the lower 60s this afternoon. It's a definite jump. Again, all because of our southeast breeze earlier today at about 5 to 15 miles per hour. Now, though, we have seen that breeze lighten up considerably, especially since we got past sunset this evening. It's southeast at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And believe it or not, with cloud cover on the way as well during the overnight and throughout the day tomorrow, that's going to bode well for us as we go into Sunday morning. We're not looking at a cold start, but it's still a cool start nonetheless, with overnight lows dropping back to about 43. But then we'll be eager to climb back near 60 at the very least as we kick off your Sunday afternoon ahead of us. Not much to show you at all, really, on the Skywatch storm tracker. We do note cloud cover working across western and central parts of Kansas. That is actually running a bit ahead of our next cold front on the way. We're seeing a change in this setup. We had high pressure yesterday, keep us a bit chilly, but now we're starting to see that wind out of the south ahead of that cold front. We'll see this front start to really impact our weather with better rain and thunderstorm chances on Monday, but that won't happen until we can get get this upper low parked over Idaho and Nevada to start pushing that front into the central plains. Until that happens, you saw that upper ridge at the jet stream level parked right on top of us. That keeps us cool this time around for tonight, and it'll keep us mild for your Sunday as we wrap up the weekend. Again, even with partly cloudy skies, that actually helps us out with temperatures, because even with a light south breeze at about 5 to 10, the partly cloudy skies overnight will only allow us to drop back near 43 across much of the region. Partly sunny skies hold firm for tomorrow, but we stay dry. That south breeze increases throughout the day to 10 to 20 miles per hour during the afternoon. That in turn sends us to 59 by lunchtime and highs near 66 in Joplin. I think everyone's fair game to go into the mid 60s tomorrow, but you can argue some upper 60s across northeastern Oklahoma before the afternoon is all said and done. Let's enjoy one more nice, mild, quiet day under the upper ridge before we see our next storm system bring in better shots for rain and thunderstorms Monday and even lasting into Tuesday. That's just one round of rain on the way, and thankfully this round of rain doesn't look heavy by any means, certainly compared to the last rounds of rain that we had. Maybe half an inch to an inch of rain before we see more systems work in once we get past Wednesday of next week. Let's go 66, keep it nice and dry for tomorrow, 62 on Monday, but with those parades of systems on the way, Chris, we'll stay chilly midweek with highs mainly in the mid-50s. But even if we stick with Doug's pattern and see thunderstorm chances by next weekend, we will thankfully start turning mild again.
I'm really enjoying these temperatures, and today was a picturesque example of what a spring day should be.
Yeah, and if anyone didn't get a chance to enjoy it, partly sunny again tomorrow, but we'll keep that nice mild temperatures in place.
I like those nice mild temperatures. Nick, thank you so much. Well, if you're new to the 4 states, this is what summer heat looks like as it rolls in come June and July. It's almost like this. This is lava still pouring from a volcano near Iceland's capital, Reykjavik, today, a day after it erupted. Now, the eruption, the first on the peninsula since the 12th century, came after more than 40,000 small earthquakes that occurred in recent weeks. Now, the Icelandic Meteorological Office classified the eruption as small and said it posed no immediate danger to people in Grindavik or to critical infrastructure. Well, coming up in sports, number 3 ranked Missouri Southern hosts a doubleheader. Plus, we'll hear from the SEK regional champion in archery following today's tournament.
The Mount Vernon girls play for the Class 4 state championship after dominating Vashon in the semifinals on Friday. Now, Boonville is the only team left standing between Mount Vernon and the state title. The Mountaineers aiming to win it all. Lacey Stokes scored 39 in the semifinal, opens this one up with a big 3. She finishes with 14 on the day. Boonville answering every Mount Vernon basket. Here's Kennedy Renfro with the 3-pointer. Then Stokes with a no-look pass to Cameron Cassidy. She finishes through a swarm of Pirates. The Lady Mountaineers would trail by as much as 22 in this one. Fourth quarter looking like a comeback. Ellie Johnston hits the triple, cuts the gap to 4. She goes for 21, but it's not enough. Mount Vernon takes home the second place trophy and a 58-52 loss. And the madness continues as round 1 of the NCAA tournament finishes up today. A few local powerhouses hit the floor. Kansas down by 8 at half. The Jayhawks turn it around to pull off the win 93-84. Then it's the Sooners that will move on to the second round. They get by Missouri 72-68. Webb City baseball kicks off their season today. And not only that, but it's the first game under head coach Flav Darnell. Cardinals on the field today against Logan Rogersville. Tragan Parker on first. Matt Woodmansey drives it deep to left center all the way to the fence. Parker scores from first, Webb City up 3-0. In the second, Cole Gaiman on the mound snags the liner to get out of the inning. Score remains 3-0. Webb City up by 4. Palin Clay pulls one into the right field corner. That scores 2. Rogersville gets 3 in the inning to pull within 1. But in the bottom half, Matt Woodmansey back to work, hammers it to center. Center fielder drops it. Woodmansey easy into third, but the cutoff throw gets away. Woodmansey scores. It takes 10 innings, but Cole Gaiman gets a walk-off single to win it for Webb City, 7-6. Joplin High School also has their season opener today. The Eagles host a pair of games. First up is Parkview. Eagles win this in a quick 5 innings, 11-1. Then Joplin faces Hollister, another victory. This one a 9-3 win. Eagles open up the season 2-0. At the college level, Missouri Southern hosts a doubleheader against Central Oklahoma, closing out the 3-game series. The Lions took Friday's game 5-2. In Game 1, the Lions slammed the door on the Broncos, scoring 5 in the 8th to win it 12-5. Dexter Swims was hot in this one. He tallies 2 hits, 2 runs, and 3 RBI. The Lions go for the series sweep. Game 2, here's Kyle Crowell with a 2-out hit. And that's an RBI double. Broncos up 3-0. Lions in the 4th, Dexter Swims knocks this one left center. And that'll put Missouri Southern on the board. Matt Miller pops this one way up. On its way down, it drops. Clay Milas cashes in the error for a run. Crowell for more. He sticks this one in the left corner. That'll be a Broncos run. The game goes to extras. Central Oklahoma scores 5 in the 10th to win 11-6. Pitt State baseball travels today. They head to Bearcat territory for a series with Northwest Missouri. A doubleheader today, Game 1. The Gorillas score 6 in the 8th to break the tie and win the ballgame 7-1. Game 2, it's another late surge that lifts PSU over Northwest. This one finishes 6-3. The final game of the series will be played tomorrow. Today is the Southeast Kansas Regional and State Tournament for archery. Pittsburgh High School is hosting, and 3 other local schools competing. For the Bullseye Tournament, Pittsburgh archers claim first place for both boys and girls. Senior Caleb Worsley locks in first place for the boys. Worsley shoots a .280 with 14 tens. For the girls, first-year archer Michaela Keller is the SEK regional champion. Keller shoots a .274 today with 12 tens.
It's darn good. I mean, even it doesn't matter what grade, but being her first year doing it and at this competition level, we needed her score to be up, and she did. So, and just happy she liked it enough, she'll come back next year. So that'll be great for us.
I've had super fun. I've made lots of new friends, and so it was just a fun experience to be able to go through. And I'm a junior, so I'll be able to come in next year and be confident with it.
Once the scores for the regional tournaments are aggregated, they will be used to determine the state champions. That's a look at sports. We'll be back after this.
A Kansas City war hero who survived 2 battles in World War II and the coronavirus turns 100 years old this weekend. Max Deweese was part of the first wave of Marines to hit the beach at the Battle of Guadalcanal in 1942, the first Allied offensive following the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. He was awarded 2 Purple Hearts for his involvement in the battles of Saipan and Tarawa. In May 2020, he contracted the coronavirus. 10 months later, he celebrated his 100th birthday up in Kansas City. Beautiful weather to be celebrating a birthday of any age, and it seems like it's going to stay that way for a little bit.
Yeah, we can keep it nice for one more day, Chris, before we see the rain chances really ramp up early as Monday going into, I want to say Monday afternoon, but tomorrow, great again. We'll start in the 40s in the morning, highs in the mid-60s. Plenty of rain chances lining up across next week, Chris. If anybody at home missed the forecast, they can catch those details on the blog on our website, KOAMNewsNow.com.
All right, Nick, thank you. And that's our time for now. Our next news time is at 9 tomorrow night on Fox. And of course, we'll see you back here tomorrow night at 10 right here on KOAM. And thanks for making us part of your night.